Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So this video is all about advice I would give if you are about to enter the world of parenthood. So if you're a soon-to-be new mum, you're expecting, or you've just become a parent for the first time, then hopefully this video will be helpful. Okay, so the first tip that I'm going to give you, and hopefully I have a little bit of, understanding and experience as a mum of two. I've got a 5-year-old called Bill and a 15-month-old daughter called Daisy. If you're new to my channel, yeah, I've got 2 kids and they are absolutely amazing. But I've learned a lot along the way, and I think my first tip is to trust yourself. Trust your instincts and don't be afraid to follow your gut, because sometimes the advice that you hear of other people, the judgment you hear of other people, the older advice from like family members who mean well but things have changed, that is all well and good. It's all really useful. It's nice to have the input from other people because, as they say, it takes a village to raise a child. But also trust you, because you do know best. And I know that when you first become a mum, you sit there, you take your baby home, and finally you're sat there and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm absolutely terrified because I don't know how to look after this little human. I felt like that, and I've got 1 to 5, so just trust yourself and you will be absolutely fine. Now the next tip that I've got is not a new one, but it still surprises me how few people know it, and if you are a new parent, there's a good chance that you won't know this tip yet. And what we have here is a very simple baby vest. Now newborns especially, they do these things called poo explosions or poonamis, and you get well acquainted with them very quickly because they seem to happen on quite a frequent basis when they're tiny. Now when a baby has poo all up their back, the last thing you want to do is drag their vest over their heads. So what you want to look out for are vests like these. So you can see here that there are little shoulder parts that you can pull down and pull the vest over your baby's shoulders and their torso and pull it off from the bottom rather than over their heads. So if you're looking for vests or you're preparing for baby, buy ones with these little shoulders because they will change your life. So my next tip is to take it slow when it comes to buying things for your baby, and this lasts with every child. I still did it a little bit when I was expecting my second as well, but you have this temptation to get everything now because you can spread it out over 9 months and you can prepare, and then you don't have to go out shopping when baby's born. But what I find is that you do end up buying a lot of things sometimes that you don't really need. So when you do have your newborn, I would recommend getting between like 6 to 8 sleep suits, the same amount of vests, just a few blankets, some muslins. I bought so many things with my first, from tiny shoes that he never wore because obviously he couldn't walk, he couldn't even move, and they just collected dust on a shelf. I bought lots of teeny tiny outfits which just looked really uncomfortable on him, and as he was so floppy, they were really difficult to get on. So just take it slow, just save yourself money because it's expensive having kiddos. The next thing I would do is find products that you feel like you can trust and that work well for you and your baby. So when your baby's first born, the first thing you want to do is leave them for as long as you can for their first bath. And the reason for this is that they are actually born with a waxy substance on their skin called vernix caseosa, and that is like nature's moisturizer, and the longer you leave that to sort of settle into your baby's skin, the better. And when you finally do that first bath, then the products that you use are going to depend on you and what you would like to try on your baby. A lot of the time it's recommended that you start with water and you build your way up. Now I have 2 children, and when my little boy was in my tummy, I decked out his nursery. In fact, I will try and find some photos now to show you what it looked like in our old house, and I had a whole basket full of Johnson's products, and these were the products that were recommended to me by my family, my mum, my grandma. They are synonymous, I think, with having a baby. It's the smell for me. Every time I smell that smell, I'm reminded of helping my auntie bath my cousins when I was little. I'm reminded of being young myself. I'm reminded of the way the moisturiser felt on my skin as a child, and they are a big brand that obviously everybody has heard of. We are trying it again because I saw the test recently that shows that Johnson's baby bath is clinically proven to be as mild as water. I saw the test where it's the rosebud and it's left in the products overnight, and Johnson's rosebud, when you take it out again, it just looks like brand new, just as it was. And then other differing competitor products, it's all like sort of disintegrated. Obviously, you are going to have to find the product that works for you. Not every product's going to work for you. You're going to prefer different types. You're going to prefer different smells. Your baby's skins will be quite sensitive. But I have to say that I'm enjoying using this so far. A little goes a long way, as you can see. And the smell is taking me right back to when Bill was a tiny baby. And it's nice to have that experience again. Plus, I forgot how much I love a pump. It's so handy when you're washing two children and all you need is one hand, rather than like having to unscrew a lid and pour it out. Pumps are more useful than I realised. Another bath time tip I have is the simple hooded towel. I just love the fact that the hood stays on baby's head, because babies lose heat from their heads very, very quickly, which is often why you have to pop a little hat on them when they are small. And then you can wrap them up cozy. And what I used to do is also warm this on our radiator while I was giving our kids a bath, so that when they came out of the bath they were nice and toasty and warm, which is a brilliant tip for when the weather is really, really cold, because no one likes getting out of a bath as it is, do they? Another tip that I want to give is around a problem that I think all parents go through, particularly mums, and that is the whole idea of judgment and being made to feel bad about the way that you parent your child. There are so many debates, from breastfeeding to bottle feeding. I've done both and I don't hate either of them. I've got two really happy children, and from where I'm standing right now, there's not a difference between the two of them when it comes to their health. There's the issues between, you know, co-sleeping or taking your baby into a cot early, or using a Moses basket or a cot or a crib. There are issues about breastfeeding in public, whether or not it's disgusting or if it's just a baby having their food and the most natural thing in the world. And there's judgment about how clever your children are, how you choose to parent, how naughty your children are, how you discipline. And it's a very, very hard world to be in sometimes, and I think a lot of the time that judgment comes from insecurities. We all worry if we're doing a good enough job, and sometimes that worry can be taken out on others, maybe by accident, maybe on purpose. But what I want you to know is that if you are judged for being a parent, just remember the only person's opinion that you should be caring about is that of your child. And just remember how those words might make another parent feel, because you're just getting a glimpse of their day and we never know the full story. And finally, I'm going to move on to my new mum essentials, and I could not talk about any of these without mentioning the humble muslin cloth. I have so many of these. I did with both children, and they are perfect, not only as a shoulder cover for when you're burping your baby, because it saves you getting covered in baby sick and having to change, particularly important in the middle of the night, because there's nothing worse than fumbling around in your bedroom in the dark trying to find a new pair of pajamas. They are great for wiping babies' mouths. They're great as makeshift bibs sometimes if you need one when you're out and about. They're great as a blanket. They're great as, you know, for lying down on the floor and changing baby on if you're out somewhere else or you've forgotten a changing mat. You know, things like that. And they're just so versatile, and I find myself using them even now, and I don't technically have any babies anymore, and I just think they are so brilliant, and I just would not be without them. Another thing that I would really recommend when it comes to sleep, and particularly safe sleeping, are Grow bags or baby sleeping bags. I like the Grow company ones because they are, you know, well accredited for safe sleeping, and I've used them with both children. But you can get different togs depending on the time of year. There's no danger of it obstructing her airway by pulling up over her face or her getting caught and tangled in them, and I just really recommend them, not only because your baby gets a good night's sleep, but you do too, because you've got that peace of mind of knowing that they're comfortable and they're safe. And the final thing that I want to recommend in terms of baby products is teething products. Like, it makes sense to get your Calpol and your Nurofen in and get those good to go, so when teething begins you are prepared. And they're great for other baby illnesses and coughs and colds and things like that. But the one thing that we've sworn by with both children is Anbesol liquid, which is a liquid that numbs the gum, so it takes away a lot of that initial pain, really soothes it. And the reason why I like it so much much is that is that when I was suffering with my wisdom teeth, one in particular has taken about 7 years to come through. I used this and it was the only thing that gave me relief, so I can definitely identify with my babies and we will always continue to use it. So that is the end of this video, and I think the final thing that I have left to say is welcome to parenthood, welcome to motherhood, welcome to fatherhood. If you're about to become a parent, then you are about to begin the greatest journey of your life, and there are going to be some ups and downs, like the most wild roller coaster you have ever been on your life, but trust me, it is one hell of a ride and you will enjoy maybe not every second of it, but most seconds of it. And thank you so much for Johnson's for partnering up with me on this video and for thinking of such a nice way to welcome new parents into parenthood, because I think we could all do with a warm welcome sometimes. It is scary, it is tiring, it is exhausting, and it can be really confusing sometimes, but just know that no one else can be your little one's mum and dad, so be proud of that and good luck. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Now, both of my babies are out for the day with their grandparents and I miss them a little bit, so I'm off to go and sniff this and reminisce about when they were both tiny. But thank you so much for watching and I will see you very, very soon. Bye!